All right, another morning and welcome to the show Spring Sports on Western Spring Television. My name is Joseph Atawa saying good morning and welcome to the show this lovely Wednesday morning.
And speaking about the UEFA Champions League, in the words of Thomas Tuchel, he said that Bayern were simply brutally punished as Manchester City made an emphatic 3-0 victory over them yesterday. Similarly, the Super Falcons defeated their opponents, New Zealand, 3-0 to end their international friendlies in Turkey. And it also sets to be an interesting night today in the UEFA Champions League as tough clashes await us. Now, more of this analysis is what is coming your way this morning. I am Nengi Ademola, and thanks for joining us.
All right, let's start from the locals and start with the Nigeria Premier Football League. Now, following disruptions during the March Day 13 Nigeria Professional Football League matches, Wiki Toys and Sunshine Stars FC of Accra have been sanctioned by the interim management. That's the committee of the league. Wiki Toys were dealt 3 points and 3 goals reduction, a fine of 2.5 million in order to play the rest of the season behind closed doors for violent conduct on match officials and Bayelsa United officials in their 2-1 home defeat on a Sunday. In summary, the summary jurisdiction notice signed by Davison Oumi, the head of operations of the Interim Management Committee, Wiki Toys was found in breach of Rule B8, subsection 21, Rule C11, B13, subsection 52, and B13, subsection 18 of the NPFL rules. And that's the situation at the moment. The deduction points, see the struggling Wiki Toys dropped to bottom off the table with 9 points instead of its acquired 12 points from 3 wins and 3 draws. So they've been sanctioned at the moment. 3-point deduction, 3 goals, and a fine of 2.5 million naira. And
similarly, Sunshine Stars were also fined 1 million naira by the IMC for inadequate security at the match venue during their 1-1 draw against Enugu Rangers on Sunday. The IMC said findings from a review of the match officials' report indicted the club for failing to implement effective crowd control as its supporters threw objects onto the field of play, targeting players and match officials, which resulted in the disruption of the match. The club also risked a possible closure of the stadium to fans should there be a repeat of the breach. Now, Joseph, I remember us talking about this when the incident between Wiki Toys and Bayelsa United happened. I think that was on Sunday, and we talked about this extensively on Monday on our show here on Western Spring Television, Sports Spring. We talked about this extensively in the sense that it saddens me that whenever you hear about the Nigerian Premier Football League, whenever you get a news circulating, it is that of violence. It is that of the IMC sanctioning a particular club manager, a particular official, or the entire team, the backroom staffs, and all of that. And you know, it's that worse that this time around we even actually are giving kudos to the IMC so far, because there's been a bit of progress, unlike the last season where we had a whole lot of violence rocking the whole NPFL matches all throughout last season. And it makes me, it seems like, looking at this one this season, it makes me, it seems like some of the match grounds are now breeding, you know, thugs. You know, you get in, you bring in fanatics, you know, to be able to crowd that particular place, and at the end of the day, it disrupts the match, which makes the effort of the IMC, which makes the effort of some of this team in order to create awareness that it is the game of football. It's a beautiful game. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you draw, and sometimes you win. They're just wasting their efforts this time around, Joseph. Talking about the fans, most especially in the NPFL, Joseph. Well,
for the fans, as I said, no matter how you want to do it, you have unruly fans, and that's the situation right now. But when it becomes too much, then it brings about a problem, and that is what the IMC is doing. In time past, what they get is that they are being fined, and sometimes they end up spending this money across 4 or 5 years, and before these clubs can be able to settle their bills. And with the new development of 3 points and 3 goals with also a fine, is a testament that the IMC actually wants the best for the league.
Exactly.
And that is what they've done to Wiki Toys and Sunshine Stars of Accra at the moment. Like what is currently being played on your screen, honestly, it's an ugly view and something that shouldn't be happening in a professional football league. When something becomes professional, it means that 100% you must be professional. But then the different factors to these things in the sense that in terms of security, as I highlighted on Monday, we have less than 500,000 police officers to guard more than 200 million people, as they say. It will be pretty difficult to have, say, 15,000 police officers at match venues. So what you have sometimes is that the state government, in which the club is representing, will provide security if they're playing at home, and what you get is sometimes you get just maybe 30, 40 police officers. And these thugs are so to be, who are very irresponsible, in my own opinion, and know fully well that police officers are not allowed to shoot live ammunitions inside the stadium. And the best they can do will be tear gas, and sometimes can be dangerous, like we saw in the country where more than 50 persons died after the police allegedly fired tear gas to scare the fans away. Some could not breathe because of the amount of fans we had inside the stadium.
I think that in that particular situation, I think it happened during the UEFA Champions League final last season, where currently Liverpool fans actually want to sue the UEFA Champions League, association for that now. I
understand. So to round up, I feel like this will continue in terms of sanctions, and that is what the IMC is doing at the moment. But then what they say is enough for the wise, and I believe and hope that our club administrators across the country will put the house in order, will ensure necessary information are passed to the fans, and the needful is done so that the repetition of this ugly incident we're seeing on our screens and being fined and point deduction will be a thing of the past.
For me, I think, in my own simple opinion, we're just getting started if you talk about the Nigerian Premier Football League, because as opposed to what the LMC, that's the League Management Committee, which was actually abandoned and turned to the Interim Management Committee this time around, as opposed to what they were doing, the IMC is simply trying to create this awareness to make sure that things actually seem right in the league, even if we're not there yet. Hence the reason why we see a whole lot of sanctions, the reason why if they place a particular rule and you breach it, I mean, you don't even need to breach it completely as per se. You just need, even if you make an attempt to breach that rule, I tell you for sure that the IMC hammer is going to fall on you. And kudos to the IMC team so far, and we do hope that more of this progress is what we are going to see, as it entails we're dealing with humans, just like you rightly said, Joseph, and so most times you have this unruly behavior, misconduct and misbehaviors coming most especially from the fans. But across all clubs, let's see and hope that most of these managers, I do not even know if they would maybe call on fans, maybe via their Facebook pages, via social media, and talk about this, create awareness each time, even before their match day, or be it any match day 12, match day 13, or anyone for this abridged league this time around. Let's see if that can be able to curtail this particular incident happening. But as for the hammer being, as for the hammer falling on each and every club that breaches either security rules or any other rules, I think it's a good one and a nice step, in the right direction.
Let's move on. Nigeria's under-17 boys under the tutelage of FIFA Cadets World Cup winning captain Nduka Agbade are gearing up for a final training camp in Germany ahead of the Africa Under-17 Cup of Nations due in Algeria between the 29th of April and the 19th of May. Last summer, the Golden Eaglets swept aside all before them to win the WAFU B Under-17 Championship in Cape Coast, Ghana, which made them eligible for a spot at the final continental event. In February, the Eaglets had an extended training camp in Abuja, where the technical crew seized the opportunity to evaluate more players and then went on break. Since resuming camp in Abuja a fortnight ago, following the country's general elections, the team has played 9 friendly matches, winning 8 and drawing 1.
Exactly, and when you talk about friendly matches, definitely it comes in handy before you go ahead for any major tournament or any major competition. And you look at the under-17 team being coached by Ugbadi. I think it's a very nice one coming from them so far. 5-time world champions. They've also scored 50 goals and conceded just 11 goals. I think it's a nice step for them to take. And for their German tour, I do hope that when the campaign would currently go on in Germany, I do hope that they can be able able to put more hard work in there, because most of these friendly matches, and definitely when you get into the main tournament, it's always a different ball game altogether. But the reason for the friendly matches, just like we've seen the Super Falcons, the Super Eagles undertake anytime, any day before preceding a particular major tournament, I think it's just to make sure that they put their house together, buttress their team, and make sure that they are technically and tactically sound to be able to get into the major competition. So all the best to the under-17 boys, even as they have left Abuja in their German tour this time around. And
so with more stories here, let's let you know that Ghana Football Association, the Executive Council member Frederick Achepong, has been handed the role of General Coordinator by the Confederation of African Football CAF for the Total Energies Confederation Cup game between Rivers United and Young Africans of Tanzania. Achepong has been mandated to ensure the smooth organization and success of the match in Nigeria. His stakes also include the team arrangement, stadium and training field preparation, match operations, media and spectator services and security. The match is scheduled for the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo on Sunday, the 23rd of April, 2023. Meanwhile, CAF has also listed the match officials for the game. They include Abongel Tom, who is the referee from South Africa, Invanildo Mirales, De Oliver from, this is assistant referee, he's from Angola, and there is a Dos Reis Montenegro, assistant referee too from Sao Tome and Principe. Jindo Lewis is the fourth official from Benin Republic, while Wuye Yusuf Suleiman is the match commissioner from Uganda. And
just to add to that, Brokodil Parfait is the referee assessor from Cote d'Ivoire. Humphrey Watenga Mandu is also in charge, is a chief security officer from Uganda. We also have Morocco duo of Hamza El Farik, the video assistant referee, and Adil Zurak as assistant VAR. Now, we also spoke to the media officer of the Rivers United team yesterday, talking about the CAF Confederation game, the tie between them and the Young Africans of Tanzania. And he did make mention of the fact that the Adokia Messi Maka Stadium, currently they've been able to send more pictures to CAF, the CAF Association, and they are hoping that they can be able to take this first leg at home in their very home ground in Port Harcourt. All the best to them, because what we're having here is that it's going to take place at the Akpabio Stadium in Uyo, come on Sunday, April 23rd, 2023. But let's hope and see that we can be able to make something out of that particular one. You look at how we've been able to take the CAF Confederation Cup, every match fixture, every game step by step in the right direction, and that is what we're supposed to do in this particular game. And looking at them participating in the Nigerian Premier Football League also, it gives them, let's look at it from this perspective, that it gives them advantage, you know, playing steadily in the Nigerian Premier Football League. It also gives them advantage to step into the CAF Confederation Cup. But aside from that, they also complained about the fact that fatigue has been setting in, day in, day out, concerning them handling the NPFL and also the CAF Confederation Cup. But then priority is what is going to save them a day this time around. So all the best to the boys and the CAF Confederation Cup.
All the best to the guys. And let's talk about the Super Falcons and a fatigue victory over New Zealand. 3 goals to nothing, it ended, and the Super Falcons, for the first time in a very long time, have won 3 games in a row. That is massive, beating IT, beating New Zealand, and the other team I can't remember right now. But then kudos to the girls, and a massive victory it was against New Zealand.
Exactly, and the Super Falcons wrapped up their Turkey exhibition in style with an impressive 3-0 win over New Zealand on Tuesday. That was yesterday at Madan Sports Complex in Antalya, Turkey, much to the delights of fans who took to their various Twitter pages to hail the team. The Nigerian senior women's national team made it 3 consecutive wins after snapping out of their 7-match winless run to continue their preparations for the FIFA Women's World Cup, scheduled to hold from July 20th to August 20th in Australia and New Zealand. Following an underwhelming performance at the Maiden Revelation Cup in Mexico last month, where they lost 2 of their 3 games, the 9-time African champions have given fans something to hope 4 when the World Cup begins. After beating Haiti 2-1 last Friday at the Emir Sports Complex Antalya in their very first game at the exhibition, Randy Waldrom's side followed that up with a faultless display against World Cup host New Zealand, with captain Onome Ebi opening the scoring in the 34th minute. And just to add, Jennifer Echegini doubled the lead just 3 minutes after the restart of the second half, before Desire Okparanozie made it 3 after introduction into the game to ensure a comfortable win for the Falcons. Now, fans were left buzzing after the game and quickly swam the social media to praise the team. And, you know, I was wondering, because we're going to hear from the media officer of the Super Falcons in person of Oluchi Toboichuku. But before we get into that, let's quickly analyze this, Joseph, talking about what did Randy Waldrom do differently this time around, because their last win came in the Revelation Cup tournament, which was held in the early months of this year, and they got a win against Costa Rica, just a lone goal. But this time around, looking at the squad, I think they're better off.
Well, Triton's ego has been dropped. I mean, considering the fact that one of their key player and one of the girl that makes it happen for the team was sidelined for a very long time because she did protested against the NFF for what I think was right. I mean, taking a protest right there to the glass house. So protest for the alleged non-payment of their bonuses after they had clinched. Is it the 8th or the 9th title there? So she was sidelined and was accused of leading other players to what the team tagged as a disgrace. That has been dropped. That is also playing. You also read from the story that Desire Okparanozie got a goal. Exactly. And she's been very instrumental in that team. The other side, I think pressure is also mounting in because Randy Waldrom understands that this is his last shot. Taking the girls to the World Cup, he needs to perform because it's no joke. You're taking 9 times African champion. Much is expected, not just from the continent, but other teams across the world will be expected to play the Super Falcons, you know, and get a good game and not get such ugly statement like we got from Bruno Fernandes when they defeated the Super Eagles of Nigeria 4 goals to nothing, if I'm correct, saying that they expected more from Nigeria. That was a diminishing statement, and you won't blame Bruno Fernandes if not for some unserious players who did not perform very well on the pitch. And Randy Waldrom knows this, and the girls for themselves. They know that they want to win something. They want to make a statement. They see Asisa Toshola playing one of the biggest clubs when it comes to female football. They also want to go there. So you ask yourself, what did Rasheedat Ajibade do differently? What did this girl that plays for Atletico Madrid right now alongside Temi Kadlana do differently that we can't do? So our competition is also playing a huge part in that team. And that is why these girls are, you know, gradually springing up to give us the needed result. So the main business will be in the next 2-3 months when the World Cup will start proper.
Yeah, and the World Cup starts definitely in July 20th. And aside from that, let's also talk about Onome Ebi, because if you look at that team, the very first one for the Revelation tournament, she was also included in that squad and she didn't perform too much. And even before that, I think she had been dropped from a club and, you know, all hope was lost concerning the fact that she would be able to perform, owing to the fact that her age has gone. That's one thing that fans have used to criticize Randy Waldrom and Onome Ebi's inclusion into that list. Let's talk about Onome Ebi, Joseph, together. She scored a goal. She did score a goal yesterday against New Zealand. If I'm not mistaken, I think that should be the very first or second goal. And it was all smiles for her because it's more like hope has been restored. It's more like she can be able to kickstart something all over again. And it's more like giving us another glimpse of hope that she might be able to perform up to our expectation come July 20th when they take on the likes of Australia, the likes of New Zealand again, I think so, in the Women's World Cup this time. Onome
Ebi has paid her dues. I mean, she's a good player for the Super Falcons and a well-respected player.
Exactly.
Even in the team, considering what she's been able to do for the national team. But then, truth be told, we have younger girls who are doing well. Go to club sides like Rivers Angels and you have these girls doing well. That is where some of the girls that played for us at last African Cup of Nations were discovered.
We had the likes of Gift Monday in this team, and also the very young lad that scored, I think, was it the first goal for the New Zealand? That's Jennifer Echegini, very young person.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I think for Onome Ebi, she's above 34, almost 36 if you ask me. And as a woman, I do not think you'll be able to catch up with the like of United States, whose players are
the likes of Australia and Canada,
above 22, 23. So what Randy Waldrom will do, well, I know he needs experience. We'll take her to the World Cup. But then he needs to understand that she can't start matches when you need her, yes, of course, she will come to play.
But she's the captain of that team.
She's the captain, but then, I mean, at that age, as I said, you need young talents in that squad. Being a captain doesn't mean you start everything. You have an assistant captain there that can also do the job, in my own opinion. But then it's left to him to get the job done and know what he wants to do, because if he fails, we'll definitely be seated here to call for his head. Exactly.
And the Falcons have been paired with co-hosts Australia, Canada, and the Republic of Ireland in Group B, and will hope to make it past the group stage. That is talking about the FIFA Women's World Cup that is to kickstart in the month of July 2023. Now let's hear from the media officer of the Super Falcons in person of Oluchi Tobechukwu. She had an exclusive chat with us yesterday. Let's go see what she has to say.
We have the media officer of the Super Falcons in person of Oluchi Tobechukwu joining us in an exclusive interview today. It's good to have you join us on board today. And without much ado, let's move straight to business. We saw an entirely different performance from the girls this time around in Turkey, as opposed to what we saw in the Revelation tournament. What did Randy Waldrum do differently with the team this time around? That's first and foremost. And secondly, I'm of the opinion that the presence of Asisat Oshoala and Desire Okparanozie, who made a return back to the team, boosted the performance and the mood of the team to 2 straight wins this time around in Turkey. Do you agree with me? And thirdly, Onome AB got a goal to add to the scoreline for the Super Falcons today. How does it feel, owing to the fact that fans have always criticized her call-up to the team? Aside that, is that to say we should expect more from her? Talking about Onome AB, is that to say we should expect more from her in the World Cup?
Thank you for having me, Nangi. It's a pleasure to be part of the program. We've had a nice match today, and as far as I know, I will tell you that it's actually no magic. At different times that we go into camp, we kind of almost have a different set of players, because you need to think logistics, you need to think administrative excuses, you need to think injuries. Any of these players could come up with any of these topics that I have brought forward in compartmentalizing them. And in your head as a coach, you're already thinking of working with a particular set of player, and an impromptu excuse comes in. What do? You fall back on your plan B. Your plan B might work, your plan B might not work. And that has been one of the greatest challenges we've had as a team, not having the full complement of our team. Revelation Cup was not too good for us, because we felt that we would have done better than that. But we ended up increasing the number of our losses in the previous matches to 7. But thankfully, we were able to get our acts together before leaving Mexico by winning Costa Rica in our final game. Now we'll have a 3rd consecutive win. Everybody's happy, and Randy is beginning to see results. We hope to go to the World Cup with a winning mentality. When we get to camp, we hope to continue this winning streak. We hope to raise the bar when we get to Australia. And I must confess to you that we play as a unit, as a team, and it's a team sport. Nobody is more important than the other. But we're happy that Nigeria, we have, if not the best striker, 5 times CAF Women Football of the Year, Asisat Oshoala, in our team. She's not been with us for a couple of training tours that we have gone for. We are thankful that she was able to make it this time around. And Desire is back in the team after, almost 2 years off. And we're excited that both of them capped, this tourney with a goal each. And our our youthful 22-year-old Jennifer Onyechegini also got a goal, her first goal for the Super Falcons. So we're very positive that the hard work continues. Onoma Ebi is the captain of the team. She's added so much value to the team for an individual to have played 7 WAFCONs and 5 World Cups under her belt. I don't think it's a simple feat. I think she's a player that we ought to celebrate, and younger players should see her as an inspiration. So she started early, and her experience is needed in the team. Her leadership quality is needed in the team. I don't think anybody has a right to criticize her. She's not been faulty in her performance, in the team. And if the coach is okay with her performances and has been giving her invites, she's also used the opportunity to at least silence the critic with the beautiful goal that she has scored. If she's fit enough and the coach deems it fit that she falls in his plans, she will also make it, for the 6th World Cup appearance for her. And I think that that is a feat that a lot of people should applaud and not criticize. And when she gets to the World Cup, I know that as a very disciplined player, she will do everything possible to keep shape. And if she doesn't make the first team, she could enter any time to supplement the good work that they are doing on the pitch.
All right, that was the media officer of the Super Falcons, Oluchi Tobechukwu, granting us an interview right there. And it's all positive in the camp of the Super Falcons. And let's see how they can be able, because it's all hopeful this time around that we can be able to get somewhere. And do not forget that we've been paired in the groups together with Canada, Republic of Ireland, and also Australia. Let's see how far we can be able to go with this one. Well,
interesting interview then. Of course, she spoke extensively and addressed the issue of Onoma Ebi, exactly, and saying an inclusion, or rather justifying an inclusion in the squad, 5 World Cups. It's no joke. So experience, just as I rightly stated, but the only problem Nigerian fans will have at the World Cup is if she starts major games, because you need to scale through. All right, we're going to break here and I give you highlights from matches played yesterday in the UEFA Champions League. The chances of Bayern making it to the next round is the question fans have been asking as they walk on a slim rope. We'll be back.
Is the aim, and here